A forest certification is a set of standards that have been developed by organizations that indicate good management and a forest that's well managed. And so those standards are in place. Landowners can do management on their property and conduct their businesses in a way that qualifies or meets those standards, and they can become certified. One of the things that can be a little confusing in regards to forest certification is there's different forest certification systems. Sometimes governmental systems have one type of certification. For example, we've got movies, right, are certified to different standards, and you know what a G movie is, and you know what a PG movie is, and that kind of thing. With forest certification, it's not a governmental issue. It's a private issue. It's a market-driven issue, and so these programs are not governmentally based. And so because of that, there are multiple certification systems, and this causes some confusion. Typically, in the U.S., there are three major forest certification systems. There's American Tree Farm now, there's Forest Stewardship Council, and then there's the Sustainable Forestry Initiative, or SFI.
The American Tree Farm System was established in 1941 to recognize good forestry that was happening on private lands. And so over the course of our 75-year history, our focus has really narrowed from all private lands to working specifically with family forest lands. And certification has become an important tool for doing that. It provides a way of really recognizing the good work that family forest landowners are doing on their land, both at the local level with the displaying of the green and white sign, which is the sign of good management, but also through markets and recognition in the global marketplace as companies are looking to distinguish their supply chains and provide assurance to their customers that they are sourcing from responsibly managed forests.
SFI was started in 1994 as the forest products sector was seeking ways to ensure that landowners could show through a third-party audited system that they were meeting all the appropriate requirements of sustainability. Since that time, SFI has grown into an independent nonprofit organization that develops these standards through a three-chamber board that represents elements of economic, social, and environmental requirements, so that we achieve that balance through our board of directors, and that reverberates throughout our system of sustainability. Now, since SFI was started back in the mid-90s, we've grown to include over 3,000 program participants, and our footprint in the U.S. and Canada of certified sustainably managed forest lands has now grown to about 240 million acres. So the program has achieved tremendous growth since that period of time. We see our labeling request, that is, requests for the SFI label to show the source of sustainable management that has given rise to these forest products. We've seen that grow many-fold over the last several years.
So the Forest Stewardship Council grew out of failed talks by governmental agencies back at the Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro in 1992. And out of those failed efforts, a group of progressive companies and leading non-governmental organizations, especially in the environmental and social arena, came together to find a private sector market-based solution to dealing with the issues of forest conservation. And so out of those discussions grew the concept of FSC, the setting of a globally applicable forest management standard and creating a reward in the marketplace for meeting that standard.
There are different paths to forest certification. There are different standards depending on what you value, what works for your forest, and there's not a lot of mystery to that. If you follow this standard to the letter, your forest management will be sustainable.
The forest certification is a process for independently overseeing forest management and associated products using a set of predetermined standards established by a certifying body to ensure ecological, economic, and social benefits. Really, three important things to emphasize in that definition. One is that it's an independent process. It is governed by a body that is independent from any government organization. and is established as its own entity and provides the guidelines, and this is really kind of the second key point to note, provides the guidelines, the standards by which forest management is evaluated with respect to some level of sustainability. And that organization, as an independent body, is responsible for providing that. A third key point is that these organizations and their certification standards emphasize three facets: economic sustainability, ecological sustainability, and social sustainability. And in some respects, these certification programs actually have boards that are compartmentalized along those lines, meaning that they have board members that focus solely on, say, social sustainability as it relates to the standards published by that certifying body.